Yes, hello everyone. Welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel. It's finished. Stoke City 1, Watford 2. A massive away win for Watford. That's now 3 wins on the bounce. And Elliot, I have to say, mate, I'm absolutely buzzing with that. Towards the end, again, it was a little bit of a nail-biting finish, but we held on. First of all, Elliot, how are you feeling after that one, mate?
I feel like my heart rate's only just dropped. It was so tense at the end. It felt so typical.
Yeah.
I thought we're going to see something ridiculous from Sam Vokes or something like that. It's so typical Watford, but I'm just glad we braved the storm and saw it off.
Mate, what a huge win. I'll tell you what, before we get into our thoughts, guys, if you do go and to enjoy the stream, please do leave a like. Make sure you follow Elliot on Twitter. He says at just below. And don't forget to subscribe to WD18 as well. And let us know in the comments what you made of today's performance and result. Elliot, we'll start off with the lineup that Cisco Munoz put out. 2 changes from the game against Barnsley. I think Sema came out, didn't he? And Gray and Chalobah and João Pedro came in. Just initially, what did you make of that lineup? Because I actually tweeted out on WD18, I thought it was a 4-3-3, but we were saying in our group chat on WhatsApp, it actually changed to a 4-4-2, and Cleverley was on the right, and then Hughes was out on the left. What did you make of Cisco's lineup, first of all?
Well, same as you, I was happy to begin with. I thought, okay, 4-3-3, that's quite daring from Cisco to change a winning formula and change formation. It didn't ever sort of creep into my mind that we would ever stick with a 4-4-2, having a team set out like that. And then I went onto the Watford app and it said 4-4-2, and it was exactly as it was in the game. It was Cleverley out wide, and it was Sarr on the left. And I thought, right, okay, that's interesting. And then Sky Sports had it down as a 4-4-2, and then Hive Live had it down as a 4-4-2. So I was baffled. And then we went into the game and it was a 4-4-2. So I was really confused. I thought it could pay off. We could see an absolute masterclass from Cisco and see it all pay off. Not sure it did in the end, but yeah, at least we got the win, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, Elliot? Because on the one hand, that first half performance was pretty slow, I think, a little bit turgid. We didn't offer a lot of maybe attacking creativity, and I think that was maybe not down to really, well, I think the players didn't play great in the first half, but the way we set up was quite deep. We were looking to play on the break, as we've seen a number of times under Cisco Munoz. And then the second half, something just seemed to change. It felt like that penalty, that moment where Deeney played a beautiful ball over the top to Sarr, and then Pedro just nipped in there. That felt like the moment where the game changed. I don't know about you. For me, that was when you thought, you know what? And then we went on to get the second goal. But that 5 to 10 minutes was when we played some really, really good stuff.
Exactly that. It feels like a lot of the time in Watford games, things just need a turning point and then everything changes. It's like, and particularly in away games, because against Derby, it was the João Pedro goal. And although we were awful that day, it was just that one thing. It changed the game and gave us the win. Birmingham, again, the penalty, just like this. And I thought it was going to be another one of those days where we could just seal off a 1-0 win. It's a weird one because I don't know if it may have been because when we switched Sarr, he seemed to go onto the right and we moved Hughes onto the left. I don't know if that made us feel slightly more comfortable, but yeah, it just felt like everything changed after the penalty. And I guess a goal like that from Deeney where he whacks it as he always does, I think that's always going to give the team a boost.
I have to say, it is funny how Deeney went on national radio saying, this is where I put my penalties, and just continued to do it, and he still scores them. We'll just have a little look through the chat before we get into to the performance. We've got 3 wins in a row. Love that Sarr strike. More of that. We'll get onto the Sarr strike in just a moment. Rudy says, great win. Charlotte says, important win tonight. Credit to the players for holding Stoke at bay in those last 10 minutes. Exactly that, Charlotte. It was a little bit nervy, but we managed to show some real character to dig out the win. Drew says, phew, big 3 points. Even Prince Andrew would have been sweating watching that final. Right, I don't think I should put that comment up. Charlotte says, if we can win on a cold, wet, windy night in Stoke, maybe we could come away with 3 points from the Den on Tuesday as well. We'll be talking about Millwall in just a second. The vibe in the chat, Elliot, is everyone's buzzing with the win. Performance-wise, what did you make of it? Because, again, we've said it a number of times on WD18, it was a performance of 2 halves for me.
It was, yeah. Hate to be a downer, but it wasn't great for most of the game. I think we did quite well to see Stoke off, as some of the comments have said, but first half was awful. Like you say, we're in the WhatsApp chat just sort of wondering what the hell was going on, because it was just really, really poor, that nothing seemed to happen. It felt like another one of those days. It felt a bit like it was under Ivic. I know we had good results under Ivic, but ultimately the football was negative, and it felt that way again. And I just thought, I don't know what Cisco can say to them in the dressing room that will change that. But I guess it worked, and the second half was much improved. I still think it wasn't perfect. I still think there were many things that need to be changed, and ultimately, if we didn't have that penalty, I do wonder how the game would have ended up. But I guess we can just be happy that we've won. But yeah, not perfect. But
no, it wasn't perfect, was it? I think Nick makes a good point. Too narrow in the first half. Only ball was to Sarr, but never got the ball. Love Hughes, but never a winger. I did find it odd that Hughesy was out wide for me, Elliot. It reminded me of when we played under Javi, but I guess with Javi, he was a lot more narrow. I mean, he was playing as a left winger, and obviously he was playing on the right under Javi. That's a good point from Nick. TH is nail biting him, but a good win. Bachmann solid, great save. That is a great point. Bachmann made two really big saves, didn't he, Elliot? I mean, every time I watched Bachmann, there was maybe a couple of kicks which were a little bit off, but apart from that, he seems so composed and so calm. Especially, I know he's not young, but 26 years of age. He hasn't had a lot of first-team football, and he's just slotted in perfectly, hasn't he? I mean, I can't really fault his performances at the moment.
No, I can't fault him either. I don't think Foster would have done any better than he did today. Like I say, distribution was a little bit dodgy at times, and at the end, it did a bit for my heart rate watching him sort of play a couple of driven goal kicks and then end up straight to the Stoke player. I thought, oh, you're just doing that to scare us now. But yeah, I thought all round fantastic performance. The save on that shot from Joe Allen, again, fantastic. Probably shouldn't have ever happened with Kiko's poor header to cause it, but yeah, really good performance. And I think the only criticism anyone could have of Bachmann, although I think this is unjustified, was that he hasn't been tested. He hasn't really been forced to make any real major saves apart from the Sierralta one maybe earlier this week. So that maybe a couple of his doubters thought, well, he's not been tested yet. Let's give him time to impress. But he has impressed tonight, and I think he's got to be fighting for that number one spot.
Absolutely, mate. Another player who impressed tonight, Max says, Troy's work rate throughout seemed really fired up. I'll tell you what, I felt a little bit sorry for Troy in the first half because I didn't felt that the way we set up didn't really suit him. But clearly there was a tactical move because he dropped a lot deeper in the second half. I don't know whether it was just after the penalty, but I noticed in the second half he dropped a little bit deeper. And we mentioned it in the preview. I think that is his best position because even after the goal, you could tell he was dropping deeper, playing the balls into Sarr. And that obviously led to the second goal, Elliot. What did you make of Troy's performance tonight? Because I was really impressed with the second half performance. That was, for me, the Deeney of old, actually. Honestly, when I was watching it today, it reminded me of the Igalo, Deeney and Deeney's position in that partnership because he was dropping into that number 10 role, looking for the two wingers and looking for those runners. What did you make of Deeney's performance, particularly that second half?
Yeah, second half was fantastic. I think we see with Deeney, sometimes when he drops deep, he completely isolates himself and is no longer part of the play, and that can be really frustrating, particularly when you've got such fast players like Joao Pedro and Sarr that can get into get to the edge of the box and cross the ball in. If he's not there, then you're gutted. But I think the way he played today was perfect. His passes were immaculate. That little dinked pass to Sarr in the lead up to the penalty was incredible. And then he passed it again to Sarr for the assist for the second goal. Yeah, could we make a claim that he's the best passer at the club now Capu's left? I'm trying to think if we could stake a claim for it. I know Hughes is good at passing, but those two passes were incredible.
It does say, yeah, it's really weird. I think with Deeney, maybe what tonight's maybe told everyone again is that he has evolved his game a bit more because I think it's not, as we know, Elliot, it's not the Deeney of old where he plays on the central defender, he bullies them, he runs in behind. He's not that sort of player anymore. He plays in that number 10 role, looks for those really good passes you mentioned. I mean, that ball over the top to Sarr is, I think, already underrated because it will be forgotten about because Joao nipped in. But that created the movement from Sarr was great. And then Deeney just with a lovely outside of the foot pass to Sarr. And then obviously Joao got in between the keeper and managed to get the penalty. Let's have a look through the live chat. Paul says Troy is still a class act. Holly says Bachmann's distribution is excellent and Deeney's best half performance for a very long time. I don't think you can disagree with the Deeney best half performance. I can't think of another game this season he played that well, Elliot. Can you? I can't.
No, not off the top of my head. He's had good moments this season, but I don't think we've seen the best of him at all. And yeah, like I say, we've seen spells where he's been very good, but yeah, this has got to be the best half we've seen of him.
Yeah, he was top drawer, wasn't he? I'll tell you what, we'll get on some other standout performers. I have to say, Elliot, I thought the midfield two today, particularly the second half of Chalobah and Cleverley, did really well. You know, I was a little bit sceptical when Hughesy came off. I don't think he looked happy to come off, if we're being honest. You know, when he came off, he looked a little bit upset that he was being brought off because he was being played out. He started in his position, then was being played out of position, then he got brought off. But that move to bring on Zinkernagel kind of meant that Cleverley and Chalobah had to step up. And I think there was one moment at the end where Chalobah, there was like he nipped in between the player, then did a slide tackle, and then passed out. And I thought that was almost like the Chalobah of old again. It was a real throwback performance, wasn't it, from him?
Yeah, completely. Again, I agree with you. I feel like I'm just agreeing with everything. I'm not really providing much.
Feel free, mate.
Feel free. But yeah, exact same. Hughes goes off. I'm like, really, you couldn't just shift him back into the middle, take someone else off. You know, you can do that. But yeah, they seemed to play out of their skin. It felt like they were sort of given a scare, told that they had more to do. Both of them and Cleverley were looking great. I think Cleverley's been fantastic for a while now, so it's nothing new. And I think Chalobah's actually been very good recently, but they proved it today, and they proved it away from home against a difficult Stoke side. I know they've not won in a while, but they'll always be difficult. We saw they caused problems for us, and I think they braved the storm, and they were fantastic. I think they really proved themselves when they really needed to.
Absolutely, mate. There was a good comment. What about that shout for the first half penalty? I mean, we can laugh about it now, mate, but my goodness, there was some expletives being shouted at the TV when that happened. I was literally like, what on earth was that? I mean, what was baffling for me, mate, was I was watching it. The cross came in and the referee's got a clear view of it, yet he then decided, and Hughes is literally there like, mate, you're in front of the decision. But I couldn't understand the logic, mate. I was absolutely baffled. I don't know about you, but it was just like, I mean, the referee overall today was shocking, I thought, for us.
Yeah. Norrington Davis has been good this season. He was at Luton for the first 6 months of this season. So, you know, there's a bit of a connection to possibly be made there. But yeah, I think he's actually been very good if I was to be neutral here. But yeah, it did just feel like he saw it as a derby. And he, I think he forgot what shirt he was wearing because he just, again, targeted Sarr a lot. He went down weirdly at one point where he was fighting for the ball against Sarr, completely lost balance. They gave a free kick to him. But I'm segueing away from the penalty, complete stonewall.
It wasn't.
Absolutely stonewall penalty. Baffled at how the referee didn't see it. Hughes is standing right next to him. He sees it. Please ask Cisco to start syncing.
Yeah, ref had a shocker, says Richard. Then Charlotte says, Elliot, please ask Cisco to start Zinkernagel on Tuesday.
I don't know how I'd word that.
Is it a coincidence, Elliot, that when Zinkernagel came on the pitch, the performance improved? Do you think there's any correlation there between the two?
I think there must be. I'll be honest. Maybe it's because I was writing a match report at the same time, which will be up a little bit later, or maybe tomorrow.
Check out on the website.
But there were no absolute standout moments from Zinkernagel, which is a first, and not necessarily a bad thing, because like you say, the performance did feel a lot better when he came on. Maybe it's the fact that Chalobah and Cleverley had more to do, and maybe he provided a bit more width, and the mentality shifted. But yeah, he's just brilliant, isn't he? And
he needs
to start on Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. I think Sema probably deserved the rest, to be fair, and I think Zinkernagel needs to have an opportunity now because we can't be playing centre mids out wide. And actually, just to elaborate on that, George mentioned in the chat, Elliot, that first half was absolutely appalling, and we weren't exactly positive about that first half. Is it a concern for you that we started that game so poorly, or do you think that's just the way Cisco set up and he maybe got it? Not maybe slightly wrong's the wrong word, but it wasn't maybe as positive as we want it to be. Do you think that's a concern going forward, or you just think, you know what, that's the way he's going to set up in these sort of games?
I think it is a concern. I think it's part of the transitional process as well. I don't know how long we can give him the free pass of, we're a transitioning squad, he's still new. I don't know how long he gets the new kid tagline. But yeah, it just does feel very Watford of the start of this season. It was a slow start.
Similar to Ivic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just thought it's the same as all these away performances we've had where we've been really sloppy to begin with, and I thought, oh god, it's going to be this again. And then, yeah, it needs to change. And there were at times earlier on in the season under Ivic where we were criticising the start, and then the start got great, and then the second half got bad. So we need to find that balance. We haven't really found that balance this season where we've been absolutely fantastic for 90 minutes. And I think under Cisco, there's potential for that to happen, but things need to change now for that to happen. I think it could against Millwall if we play our cards right.
I'll tell you what, Elliot, I was a big fan of, I know you've got a soft spot for Cisco. I was a big fan of his substitutions today, actually. I thought he made them at the right time. I thought they were the correct substitution. And to be fair, he does seem proactive with the substitution. Now, I don't think we should have had a centre mid playing on the wing, but he did rectify that in the second half. Be honest, Elliot, when Stoke got their goal, were you thinking this is where we're going to go and throw the game away? If we're being completely honest, or were you confident that we were going to see it out? Because to be fair, it did show real character to see out that win.
I was busy thinking of the third goal and how great it's going to be to win 3-0 away from home. And when they scored that, I thought, 3-0 away from home, that's incredible. Because it felt that way. I remember João Pedro started attacking as soon as we'd scored the second. And I thought, wow, we're actually going to batter them here. And then they score it. And it was a fantastic goal. I think I was too sort of swept up in the emotion of looking at the Stoke goal. I just thought, wow, that's a really good goal. But yeah, the heart rate doubled from there. And I was panicking for the rest of the 90. But yeah, it could have been 2-2 at the end. I'm really glad it wasn't, but I did think to myself it's going to be 2-2, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought that as well. I'll tell you what, I'll have a little look through some of your comments. Thank you to everyone who's watching at the moment. 85 of you in the live stream at the moment. Richard said Klebs was brilliant. I have to echo that again. He's been one of our most consistent performers this season. Aaron says, I like Cisco, but we sacked Ivic for being for a smiley Ivic who lets the players play countdown. Absolutely brutal from Aaron. Good performance, though, says Happy Hornet. Max says, Garner looked really miffed at the end. That was, I don't know if you saw that, Elliot.
Yeah, he was not happy.
It seemed like...
He wasn't the right change. He wasn't the right change. He wasn't the right player to bring on. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But I don't know. I feel like he needs an opportunity under the new manager. I think, if anything, as a young player, that can breed a bit of fight in him, and we maybe haven't seen enough of that. So I would like to see him get his opportunity at some point. With the amount of games coming up, it might be good to see him at some point, maybe playing in a more comfortable position, because I think he's better in a defensive midfield position, and we haven't really seen him there this season. So yeah, but
he did look happy.
Right not to bring him on today.
Yeah, he didn't look happy, did he? We've got a few more comments. A lot of Sarr chat in the comments, which, mate, what a finish
That's
that
was.
was.
Best of Sarr. That is.
Mate, this is the frustration for me, Elliot, is we see him in a 4-4-2, and it's not really the fact he's in a 4-4-2, but his role is quite deep, and it's not where his qualities lie. I mean, you must have seen him on Tuesday night. We know the best of Ismaila Sarr when he's playing on the fullback, making those runs. Deeney drops a bit deeper, and for that goal, where Deeney creates the space, plays the ball through. For me, it's just the frustration that we don't do that from the start. I don't know about you, but it seems every game it takes us a half to get Sarr into the game, and I don't think that's his fault. I just think it's the way we're deploying him at the moment.
Yeah, he caused Norrington Davis so many problems. When he sort of he had almost attached himself to the Stoke left back, I just thought, right, this is where we need to see Sarr. And again, like you say, against Barnsley, when he gets the opportunity to run in behind and to cause the defence problems, that's when we see the best of Sarr. And I don't think we necessarily have it in the first half, because, like I say, he's very wide, he's very deep, and he's very limited with his options. And he's still a young player, and he still needs to mature a bit more. And I don't think we can rely on him to make the decision to go, right, now I'm going to bomb forward. I'm going to ignore what the manager said or the system, and I'm going to make the choice to run forward and create a chance, because that's not what we're getting from Sarr. We need to get the sort of player that's on the left back and is always pressuring it. He's the danger, and we need to use that. And I do just think maybe something needs to change mentality-wise from, I don't know if it's Cisco, I don't know if it's the squad, I don't know if it's the lineup on the day, but we need to facilitate Sarr a bit more, because we're not at the moment.
Just expanding on that mentality point, Elliot, for you, how big is this away win for our confidence? Because as we said going into this game, I think we were 17th in the away point standing. I think I tweeted that out before the game, and it wasn't a pleasant stat in all honesty. And I think we've gone up to just below mid-table on the waypoints. We've now got 14 out of 12. We move up to, we're third in the league, 7 points off the top in Norwich City. For you, how big is this away win going into Millwall? Because I was quite sceptical, I think, going into this because of our away form. You know, it hasn't been great this season, as we all know as Watford fans. But for you, how big is this away win, just in terms of the mentality of this Watford squad and kind of getting rid of that away pressure going into games? Because I think that's been kind of hanging over us this season.
It's absolutely huge, absolutely huge. I think Cavaselle said on Hive Live against Barnsley, I wasn't able to watch it, but I think he said something like it is something that's hanging over them a bit. They like playing at Vicarage Road. Obviously, and even Ivic said when he was head coach that it's the perfect pitch. I think we're used to having Premier League level football and a Premier League level ground. So to then jump to a pitch where it's worse conditions, it's a bit boggy, and we have to sort of adapt to that. I think that's where we've had our problems. So to have that mental block to say, right, we're playing away this week. We know how it turns out when we play away. So now I think to have this win and say, right, we've now won away. We can do it again on Tuesday. If we get 2 away wins in a row, having won only 2 before that all season away, it's absolutely huge. And I think that could just break the whole away duck. And if we can match the home form with the away form, we go up. Simple as that.
100%. Sam just made a good point in the chat, Elliot. Elliot with the Spain shirt on for the Cisco propaganda.
Well, it wasn't planned, but when I put it on, I did think, yeah, I could do that.
What a man. What a man. A few more comments in the chat. We'll wrap it up soon and we'll do a player ratings very shortly. Rudy says this win could be vital for promotion. Absolutely, Rudy. Massive, massive win. Rich said we need a win at Millwall. If we can get the best out of Sarr, that could be the difference between automatic promotion and missing out. 100 people watching. Come on, the boys. Thank you very much to everyone who's watching at the moment. I think someone wanted a shout out, and if you want to get a shout out, we're more than happy to do that. I think it was a guy called Jacob, actually. Jacob Podge, there we go. Can I have a shout out? Absolutely, Jacob. From one Jacob to another, you can have a shout out. Last few comments, guys, before we move on to our player ratings. Maybe actually just to wrap it up, Elliot. Thoughts on James Lier Siliki? You got in contact with a source close to the player today. Have you got any update on that? And what's the situation? Because obviously he's at Rennes at the moment. It seems to be a rumour that it's going to be a 6-month loan with an option to buy. He's keen to move. What do you know about the deal?
Well, I know that he's not someone that's played much this season for Rennes. And I think it was the summer of 2019, Watford approached him for the first time. This was only rumours. I've not had that confirmed that the approach for him in 2019 was true, but there were certainly news reports that was the case. And those same reports have surfaced from the same sources. So I imagine that was true. And we've come back in for him. He's very interested in a move to Watford, but I've heard elsewhere that he might have moved to Genoa and somewhere else in the pipeline that could emerge. I'm not sure how true they are, though. And yeah, he's very interested in a move to Watford. The clubs are talking about it at the moment, and I think it's just a we'll see for now because it's still early days. Talks can take a while, and there's still a bit of time to go in the transfer window. So it's far from done, but I think it's going positively at the moment.
And I guess another positive element of that one is it's another French speaker to help Sarr, and I think that sometimes goes under the radar a little bit because with Capoue going out, you need people who are going to support Sarr. And I think particularly this season, if we want to keep hold of him, that would be a good boost to the dressing room. A few more comments before we wrap it up. Thank you to 118 of you watching at the moment, which is absolutely brilliant. Thank you to all who are watching this evening after what is a massive Watford win. Nick says, evening, huge win. Not a great performance first half, but second half much better, more tempo. Defensively great again. Great ball from Troy Deeney for Sarr's goal. Initials, I got completely confused there. Troy Deeney for Sarr's goal. Took it brilliantly. Absolutely, Nick. Echo everything you've said there. Molly says, what would be your perfect lineup for Millwall, Elliot? Okay, it's probably an easy question. What change would you make, if any?
We have to rotate because there's just too many games at the moment. I think you have to bring Zinkernagel in. Semmer's now had a break. He can come back in. I guess having Zinkernagel and Semmer back means that Sarr would have to drop out probably. Does Gray come back in? João Pedro's now played quite a lot. So has Deeney. So maybe Gray back in. The defence has been solid, but you could make changes there because they played very consistently. I think that's all dependent on condition, whether they're tired or not. And I thought Ngaki has been brilliant off the bench past couple of games. Although Kiko's great, it might be nice to get Ngaki in for a bit of rotation. So yeah, maybe Ngaki as well.
Yeah, I think people want PZ7 in the lineup, as Cohen says in the chat. Someone's mentioned it in the chat, but soon Jacob will ask 180 of us to give a like, and I will ask you, if you do enjoy the video, guys, please do leave a like. It's massively appreciated. We're going to head over to some player ratings in another stream in just a second. Thank you to everyone who's watched today. Great stream, says really do appreciate that, mate. Dan also says great content. Thank you very much. I think that's pretty much where we're going to wrap up the match reaction. Make sure you come and join us for some player ratings. Thank you very much to everyone who watched today. Loads of you, absolutely loads of you. Always helps after a Watford win. Yes, Jacob, thank you, Rufus, for joining the stream as well. So that's where we're going to wrap it up, guys. Make sure you do leave a like. Don't forget to follow Elliot on his Twitter. Does some great content for WD18 at Elliot_Murray. As Nick says, 120 of you watching, but only 37 likes. Get down below, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18. Comment down below what you made of the live stream and if you want to see more of these. And good job, guys. Thank you very much. Happy Hornet 1000. Take care of yourself, guys, and we'll see you in a moment.